How are we doing, everyone? Hope you're all well. Mr. Boulder here. First things first, you might hear some loud banging noise in the background of this video because some of the neighbours have got fireworks going off tonight, so apologies straight away for that. Thought I'd get out of the way straight away. I'm back up with my Black Sabbath album ranking video. I'm pretty sure I was asked to do this during my Q&A earlier this year, so I'm finally here with this video. Sabbath, of course, one of the holy trinity of hard rock and heavy metal alongside Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple. But as far as metal goes, definitely Black Sabbath, the most important band, the band that started it all. So we're going to get straight into it after the usual sip of coffee. There are 20 albums to talk about. That's right, I said 20 because I am going to be including The Devil You Know by Heaven and Hell, because as we all know, it's a Black Sabbath album in everything but name. So 20 albums to talk about. Let's kick off with something from the 1990s. And here's 1995's Forbidden, the last album to feature Tony Martin on the vocals. Before I say anything else, there are no bad albums in this discography, but this one's the weakest. But it's definitely got its moments, but it's definitely a lot of forgetful stuff here as well. The Illusion of Power first track is decent. There's a cameo in there from Ice-T. You've got Ernie C from Bodycan producing this album, so maybe that's how Ice-T managed to give himself a cameo on this album. Can't Get Close Enough, track 3 is decent. Shaking of the Chains, there's some really great riffs in that I really enjoy. Guilty as Hell, Sick and Tired. But the rest of it is just very average and doesn't really stick in the memory. So that's why this one comes in the last place. 1995's Forbidden is my number 20 in my Black Sabbath album ranking. A few decent tunes, but quite forgettable in places as well. Number 19 is their most recent album, and it's 2013's 13. So this is the first Black Sabbath album that features Ozzy Osbourne on the vocals since 1979's Never Say Die. Main problem with this one is that it's way too long. It's an hour and 17 minutes and just simply doesn't need to be. There's not enough quality here for me to justify the album going on for this long. Opening track, End of the Beginning is pretty decent. The single, God Is Dead. I really liked the single edit of that when it was played on the radio at the time, really, because I really enjoyed it. But the album the version on this album goes on for so long, and there's no need for it to because nothing really changes as the song goes on. They're just rehashing parts that came before, and it's not interesting enough to warrant the song going on for as long as it does. The Age of Reason I like. Damaged Soul. The close of Dear Father is pretty decent. But again, a lot of it just really drags its feet, goes on, and there's not enough going on to sort of hold my interest. And the album, again, has got its moments, but there's not enough of them. And so I was quite disappointed, actually. The first album to feature Ozzy for a long time. And it doesn't do too much for me. You've got Brad Wilk from Rage Against the Machine fame playing the drums on this. There's plenty of good riffs to be heard. Ozzy sounds really good. But the songs aren't strong enough for this album to be much higher on the list for me. Some decent moments, but a lot of forgetful moments as well. And it goes on for way too long. So number 18 is the last album to feature Ozzy in the initial run during the 70s, Never Say Die. Which, again, there's a few really decent tracks here, but there's a lot of crap as well, which I don't really care for. Title track is fantastic. I've always loved that tune. Great chorus. Really enjoy the vocals from Oz. Second track, Johnny Blade. Now, parts of this song I really like, but for me, it's really ruined by the horrible sounding 70s organ, which just does nothing for me at all. The Hard Road, last track on side A, is really, really good. It's one of my favourites. Great chorus. Some nice riffs from Tony. Air Dance on side 2 is decent. Swing in the Chain, track 4 is okay. But other than that, there's a lot of stuff in there that just isn't up to the standards of what come before it. And that's why Never Say Die comes in at 18th place. Again, and now with some really good moments, some very strong moments. But some very average moments as well. So that's why that one's so low down the list. But still some good stuff on that. Number 17, let's go towards the first CD. And here's Cross Purposes from 1994, which is the first Sabbath album to feature Geezer Butler on the bass since, I think, Born Again from 1983. This is a decent album. Again, it's one of these albums that's got some good moments, but some forgetful moments at the same time. Tony Martin on the vocals. Eyewitness, first track's really good. Crown of Thorns track 2 is really good. Virtual Death I like. Dying for Love. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, that's my favourite song on the album. Cardinal Sin, Evil Eye. This has got Bobby Rondinelli on the drums, who was formerly in Rainbow. Yeah, again, a good album with some good moments, but some of the tunes are forgetful, so hence it's so low down on the list. But once again, not a bad album, but some decent highlights, but some filler as well, so that's why that one comes in where it does. Number 16 is Technical Ecstasy from 1976. There's a few really, really good songs on this. This is an album that gets panned quite a lot. I don't think it's quite as bad as it's made out to be. I mean, I can say the same for Never Say Die, because like I say, the strong moments of that are really good. But this one for me is better than Never Say Die. First track on side 1, Backstreet Kids, is really, really good. Love the chorus. Track 3, It's Alright, is just that. It's okay. I think that's sang by Bill Ward. Rock and Roll Doctor on side B is brilliant. Lovely chorus, really, really good stuff. The last track, Dirty Women, great riffs from Iommi. Vocals are good, great chorus. I like the lyrics in that track as well. But again, it's an album that's got some filler on it, but it's definitely got its strong points as well. But there's Technical Ecstasy for you, which is coming in at number 16. So number 15, I'm going to be going with Tear from 1990. Cozy Powell on the drums. Tony Martin on the vocals again. Obviously Tony Iommi. Neil Murray on the bass. Some very, very strong moments on this. I only got this album about a year ago. Do quite enjoy this one. Tony Martin's vocals are absolutely fantastic. The Lawmaker track 2 is good, but Jerusalem track 3 is absolutely fantastic. Tony Martin's vocals in that are absolutely superb. Great riffs as well. The Sabbath Stone is decent. The Battle of Tyr, Valhalla, brilliant. That and Jerusalem are my favourite songs on the album. Those two are really, really good. Superb vocals from Tony Martin. Feels Good to Me, Heaven in Black. Tyr from 1990, pretty strong effort, it has to be said. Like I said, he got this one about a year ago. I'm going to say this right now. The Tony Martin era for me is underrated. I know I've got some of these albums quite low down their ranking, but it doesn't mean they're bad albums in the slightest. It just means that there's stuff they've done that is much better, but still a decent listen. Tear from 1990 is a good album. Yeah, like I say, Jerusalem and Valhalla are two absolute standouts for me. Brilliant tracks on this album. Black Sabbath's 1990 album Tear comes in at number 15. So number 14 is Seventh Star from, I think, 1986. Yep, 1986. Now, this really is just a Tony Iommi solo album. No doubt made to put it out under the Black Sabbath name from the record company to ensure more sales. On the drums here, you've got Eric Singer, who's been the drummer in Kiss for donkey's years now. Glenn Hughes on the vocals. Dave the Beast Spitz on bass, no idea what that is. Jeff Nichols on keyboards. Glenn Hughes being on the vocals means that this album's got amazing vocals on it. Glenn Hughes is a great singer, and if you hear him now, he still sounds fantastic now. When you think of the likes of Don Dokken and Vince Neil, who just cannot even get close to the singing that they used to be able to do, Glenn Hughes can still cut it in this day and age now, and he sounds fantastic on this album. Track 1, In for the Kill, is brilliant. Really, really great riffs from Tony. I love the vocals. No Stranger to Love track 2. That's a ballady sounding song, which is very good. Again, Glenn sounds amazing on the vocals. Turn the Stone, good track. Danger Zone, that's a great track as well. Really good chorus. Heart Like a Wheel, Angry Heart, In Memory. Yeah, an Iommi solo album, really. But there's lots of good stuff on this one, and Glenn sounds fantastic. Great riffs. The drums from Eric Singer are really good as well. There's 7 Star for you. That's next for the album ranking. Up next at number 13 is we have The Eternal Idol from 1987, the first album to feature Tony Martin on the vocals. The one thing that springs to mind with this album is it's incredibly melodic. compared to the albums that have come before it. It's a fantastic album. Great vocals, of course, from Tony. The Shining track 1 is brilliant. Ancient Warrior, Hard Life to Live, Glory Ride, brilliant song. Born to Lose, Nightmare, Lost Forever. However, the last track, Eternal Idol, is the only track that really sounds like old school Sabbath there. It's the only one that sounds really kind of doomy and epic, like you expect from the early days. The rest of it is very melodic, and I have to say, it doesn't massively sound like Black Sabbath because it is so melodic, but it's still a good album. Tony Martin's vocals are absolutely amazing. Jeff Nichols on the keyboards again. Who's on the drums here? Eric Singer again on the drums. Good album. I like this one a lot. Again, I picked this up a couple of years ago. But here's the Eternal Idol for you. Coming in next at number 12 is an album that gets a lot of shit from people, and I don't think it's really justified. Here's Born Again from 1983, which has got the album artwork that gets shit on a lot. It's not the greatest, has to be said, but I don't think it's that terrible. So here we have Ian Gillan on the vocals from Deep Purple, of course. And we've got the usual suspects, Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Geezer Butler. The production on this album is not great. The mix is a little bit of a mess, but I still enjoy a lot of the songs, to be honest. I mean, the first track, Trashed, is a good tune. Disturbing the Priest. Zero the Hero. I actually first became familiar with that via Cannibal Corpse because they covered that back in about 1991 or 92 for the Hammer Smashed Face EP. I love that song. The riffs are absolutely amazing. Really, really good. Digital Bitch is a great track. Title track, Born Again, is good. Hotline is fantastic. Keep It Warm, last track. Yeah, I just do not think this one deserves the shit that it gets at all. Apart from one track or two tracks, they're a little bit forgettable. For me, the rest of it's really strong. Ian Gillan's vocals, I think, fit in pretty nicely, to be honest. It might be because of his association with Purple that it can be a little bit hard to sort of imagine being part of Black Sabbath at one point. But once you get past that, I think the vocals fit well. It's a good album. I like it. I don't think it deserves the shit that it gets. Born Again from 1983 is a decent listen for me. Only a couple of weak tracks. Number 11 is a Dehumanizer from 1992, which was the reunion between Sabbath and Vinny Appice and Ronnie James Dio. I saw this on vinyl once for 60 quid and I didn't pick it up, and I regret it now because it's such a hard album to find on vinyl. Bid on one on eBay about a week ago and got outbid on that because it went for crazy money. So the CD will have to do. Good album, to be honest. There's a lot of really, really good stuff on this one. For me, though, it starts with a couple of its weaker tracks. Computer God. I was talking with my bandmate Rich at the rehearsal about that earlier. He says it's kind of like about IT before IT was really a thing. After All, track 2 is good, but for me, it's when it really gets going is track 3 with TV Crimes. That was a single, and I just absolutely love that. The riffs are great. The bass playing from Geezer Butler is amazing as well. Great chorus, of course. Letters from Earth, Master of Reality, Time Machine, that's a great track as well. Sins of the Father is okay. Too Late is a good tune. Track 9 is fantastic. One of my favourites on the whole album. Buried Alive, track 10 is phenomenal. Some of the song titles on this album for me have dated quite horribly. But to be honest, when it comes to the music, that doesn't really matter. This is a good album, Dehumanizer. When I first picked up back in the day, I wasn't massively keen on it, but more spins have reaped rewards. Dehumanizer from 1992 is an excellent album, and we could definitely do with a vinyl reissue of that, has to be said. So now into the top 10, and for me, number 10 is Sabotage from 1974, I think. For me, this album is all about side A. I'm not so keen on stuff on side B, but side A stuff is absolutely outstanding. Hole in the Sky, track 1, brilliant stuff. I love the riffs from Tony in that. Ozzy's vocals are great in the verses, really, really strong. Chorus is good too, just a fantastic song. Symptom of the Universe, everyone knows that song. Just an absolutely amazing riff from Tony. Again, the vocals from Ozzy are really good. A lot of the chorus, a lot of the way the song breaks down during the second half. It's almost like a different song. That's fantastic stuff. Thrill of It All on the side of the start of side B is decent. Am I Going Insane Radio? That is my favourite song on side B. But again, the 70s sounding organs, synthesizers, whatever you want to call them, doesn't do a lot for me. And I'm not fussed by the last track, The Rip. It's okay, but it's definitely not as good as some of the other stuff in there. So that's why Sabotage, for me, comes in at number 10. And what the fuck was Bill Ward thinking wearing those for the photo shoot? And even Tony Iommi, to be honest, doesn't look the best, but Bill Ward for those trousers, my God, what a fuck up. So number 9 is the debut album, Black Sabbath, from 1969. I think it's 1969. Might be 1970. I think it's 69. Again, for me, this is what album is all about. Side A. Title track, the first track, the track that started all from metal, Black Sabbath. Amazing stuff. Great riffs from Tony. Geezer's bass playing is great as well. Very atmospheric vocals, especially in the verses. Just a fantastic tune. When it sort of speeds up towards the end and that riff comes in, just absolutely amazing stuff. The Wizard, I love the harmonica playing in that. That sort of pop makes the song for me. I really like that. Behind the Wall of Sleep, track 3, great start to that track with the bass. NIB is my favourite song on this album, though. Iconic riff that starts off with Geezer Butler on bass playing it. That "Oh Yeah" vocal part is just such a hook. Great chorus, fantastic song. I love that. Side B, Evil Woman, the first track I really like. But for me, Sleeping Village and Warning, to me, just sound like blues jams that were stuck on the end of the album because they didn't have enough material for an entire album. They're not bad by any stretch of imagination, but they just sound like jams to me, which are stuck on the end for the sake of making up enough tracks for a record. But the rest of it is absolutely fantastic. I really like it. The debut album, the album started all from Black Sabbath, the self-titled debut, comes in the number 10 spot. Sorry, the number 9 spot. So up next, number 8 is Heaven and Hell. We all know it's Black Sabbath. This is The Devil You Know, which came out in 2009. My memory's right, this is the last thing Ronnie recorded before he passed away. Rest in peace, Ronnie. Really, really good album. Vinny Appice's back with Ronnie, of course. Obviously, Geezer and Tony here. There's a lot of good tracks, but there's a couple that are really fantastic. Track 1, Atom and Evil, is a good opener. I really like the chorus in that. Bible Black, track 3, is my favourite song on the album. Ronnie's voice is amazing. It's really atmospheric, very dark, sounds fantastic. Double the Pain, track 4, brilliant stuff. I love it. Rock and Roll Angels, track 5 is decent. Turn the Screw, track 6 is fantastic. One of my favourites on the album. Eating the Cannibals is great. When I first saw that title, I thought it said Eating the Cannabis. Follow the Tears, Breaking Into Heaven, last track. Great vocals again from Ronnie. Loads of great riffs. Vinny Appice's drums are good. Great bass playing from Geezer. Fantastic album for Ronnie to go out on. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. The Devil You Know from 2009 is my number 9 Black Sabbath album. Number 8, sorry. I keep getting my bloody numbers wrong. Right, number 7. I'm at the right place now. And it's volume 4 from, I think, 1972. This is the only album from the early days that I really struggled to get on with at first. But once again, it's a case of repeated listens, reap rewards. I really enjoy this album now, and it's got a couple of my favourite Sabbath tracks on it. Starts off with Wheels of Confusion, which is never my favourite album opener from Sabbath. It's okay, though. Tomorrow's Dreams is a good track 2. I enjoy that one a lot. Changes is okay. I've never been a huge fan. It's definitely better than the version you did with Kelly Osbourne, though, back in about 2002. Supernaut, though, last track on side 1 is fantastic. Brilliant, brilliant riffs from Tony Iommi. I love the vocal patterns from Ozzy in the verses. Chorus is fantastic. Snowblind, first song on track 2, is again brilliant. Again, I love the vocals, some brilliant riffs. Some Vitas Dance, Under the Sun. Loads of great stuff on this, but no doubt about it. Supernaut and Snowblind are where it's at for me on this album. Bill Ward's drumming's very good, has to be said. I haven't really mentioned Bill too much so far, but his drumming's really good. Yeah, an album I've definitely grown to love over the years. Certainly not my favourites from the early days, but really, really enjoy this one, no doubt about it. Got off to a slow start with this, but got there in the end. Volume 4, excellent stuff. Number 6 is the Headless Cross from 1989. The best of the Tony Martin era for me. This album is absolutely fantastic. Was lucky enough to score this press at a record fair a few years ago. Didn't realise how hard it was to come by. So yeah, I grabbed it very easily. So I was very lucky. Excellent stuff. Cozy Power on the drums. The drums on this album are fantastic. I can't remember the name of the bass player, but this is the only album he ever played on. See if I can just quickly have a look. Bass is Lawrence Cottle. I'm not sure who that is at all. Jeff Nichols on the keyboards. We've seen his name a couple of times already. Yeah, it's a great album. Whereas the Eternal Idol is very melodic and a good album, it doesn't really sound like Sabbath. This definitely sounds more like the old school Sabbath. Definitely got that doomy sound to it, which the previous couple of albums didn't have. Headless Cross title track is just one of the best Black Sabbath songs ever from all eras as far as I'm concerned. Devil and Daughter is a great tune. When Death Calls, which closes out side 8, is again another great tune. Tony Martin's vocals are superb. Killing the Spirit World, Call of the Wild, Black Moon, Right Wing. There are no bad tracks on this album at all. It's absolutely fantastic. One of Sabbath's best for me. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Again, Tony Martin's vocals are absolutely fantastic. And I hate to say it, but it is true. When you listen to Tony sing, and you listen to Ronnie sing, you listen to Ozzy sing, Sabbath's most popular vocalist, Ozzy Osbourne, is easily the weakest of the vocalists, it has to be said. Some of the highs that Tony Martin hits on this record are absolutely superb. And that's why Headless Cross comes in the number 6 position. Excellent album. Check it out if you've not heard it. Number 5 is their second album, Paranoid, from I think 1970. Now, there's a couple of tracks in this that I enjoy, but I never need to hear again because it's so overplayed on rock radio. But still good tunes. I mean, War Pig starts off this. Fantastic song. I really, really enjoy that one. Paranoid, I just don't ever need to hear it again, but it's still a good tune, no doubt about it. Planet Caravan is a good song, but I've always preferred Pantera's cover version, actually. I don't like the underwater sound effects that are on the Sabbath version. Iron Man, again, overplayed, but that riff is just phenomenal. Absolutely great riff. But side B is where some of the more unplayed stuff is some of the best stuff. Electric Funeral, I love the riff from Tony Iommi. Excellent, excellent stuff. Hand of Doom is brilliant. And Fairies Wear Boots, again, the riff from Tony is fantastic. Great chorus, great vocals from Ozzy. A couple of tunes that have been so overplayed over years, I don't need to hear them again. But still, when you listen to them in the context of the album, I still really enjoy them. Paranoid from 1970 is an absolutely fantastic album with no bad songs on it at all. And that is why it is my number 5. Number 4, we're going to 1981. And here is The Mob Rules, the second album, which featured Ronnie James Dio on the vocals. The first to feature Vinny Appice on the drums after Bill Ward's departure. And it's just fantastic. I mean, the first track, oh God, what's it called? Turn Up the Night. I love the opening of that song. Great riffing. The phenomenal chorus is just brilliant. Ronnie James Dio's vocals are fantastic. Then you get Voodoo, which is probably my favourite song on the album. Ronnie absolutely knocking it out of the park with the vocals. You've got other great stuff on this album, like Slipping Away, the title track, The Mob Rules, great chorus, very, very strong. Sign of Southern Cross is excellent. Country Girl I really like. Sign of Southern Cross over and over. No bad songs, fantastic stuff. Great vocals from Ronnie, loads of great riffs, packed with the great tunes. And that's why The Mob Rules is my number 4. An absolutely amazing album that I can listen to from start to finish and just do not get bored at all. No bad songs, fantastic stuff. The Mob Rules from 1981 is my number 4 Black Sabbath album. My number 3 is Master of Reality from 1971. I think they tuned down to C sharp on this, so everything's sounding much heavier. Some people sort of cite this as being like the first doom metal album, and I can see where they're coming from, definitely. Opens a Sweet Leaf. Oh, dry throat, let me have a quick drink. Sweet Leaf, great track. I love the intro riff, superb stuff. Track 2, After Forever, is a great tune. I love that lyric in there. Do you want to see the Pope on the end of a rope? You think he's a fool. That's a great lyric. Then you get Embryo, which is the instrumental. Children of the Grave, again, some fantastic riffing from Tony Iommi. I love the verses and the chorus. Great vocals from Oz. Lord of This World on track, side B is really, really good. Solitude is a great track as well. I really enjoy that one. I wasn't too keen on it when I first heard the album, but I love it now. Ends of Into the Void, probably my favourite Iommi riff. That opening riff is just absolutely fantastic. Doomy as anything. Great vocals from Oz. Bill Ward's drums are fantastic. A great way to end a great album. Into the Void, just, yeah, probably my favourite Tony Iommi riff. So many great songs on this album. Third full length, fantastic stuff. Brilliant, brilliant album. Master Reality from 1971 is my number 3 Black Sabbath album. Just going to have another quick drink before my throat dries out again. So top 2, number 2. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath from 1973, I think. Again, this is an album with no bad songs in it at all. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Kicks off with Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. The opening riff from Iommi, fantastic. Love Ozzy's vocals, great chorus. The solo's really good in that as well. National Acrobat, great tune. Sabracadabra, brilliant stuff. I think Metallica covered that one. Side 2 kicks off with my favourite song, though, Killing Yourself to Live. Again, the riffs from Iommi are amazing. I love the vocals from Oz in the verses and the chorus, especially the chorus. It sounds great in the chorus. But the riffs are amazing. Looking for Today, brilliant, brilliant song. I love the chorus. Ozzy sounding really, really good on that song. Excellent, excellent vocals. Ends of Spiral Architect, which is a fantastic song. A perfect album. Nothing bad on this at all. This is one of those records where you can sit the needle down on it and you don't ever think, oh, I could do with skipping this track coming up. That just doesn't happen with this. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is an absolutely fantastic album. My favourite from the Ozzy era, which is kind of given away that the number 1 isn't an Ozzy era album. So number 1 for me is Heaven and Hell from 1980, the first album to feature Ronnie James Dio on the vocals. You've still got, obviously, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler here, and Bill Ward. Just phenomenal stuff. Brilliant. I didn't hear this album until about 2000, I remember. Picked it up on CD. I just loved it from the off. It's such a really, really good album. Neon Nights, the opener, is just amazing. I love the riffing. Children of the Sea is probably my least favourite on the album, but I still really like it. I like the guitar intro part. It's on the acoustic, sounds really nice. The verses are good. Lady Evil, track 3, one of my favourites on the album. I love the way it starts with the bass and the drums, and Tony comes in with the riffs. Heaven and Hell is a little bit overplayed, that's to be said, but that doesn't take away the fact it's a great tune. Ronnie's vocals in the chorus are absolutely phenomenal. Wishing Well, first track on side B is good. Die Young, a great track as well. Walk Away, my favourite track on side B. I love the chorus, the backing vocal parts that intertwine with the lead vocal parts. For me, it sound absolutely amazing. I love that song. It's absolutely brilliant. Ends with Lonely as the World, which is a good tune. I like that one a lot. The keyboard parts towards the end of it brings some nice atmosphere to the track. I really like that. But 1980s Heaven and Hell with Ronnie Dio on the vocals is my favourite Black Sabbath album. It's only just better than Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. It was definitely between those two for my favourite, it has to be said. But I've decided to go with Heaven and Hell in the end. Just a phenomenal record. For some reason you haven't heard this, I can't stress enough that you go out and listen to it. To be fair, the same can be said for Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and a whole bunch of these albums, to be honest. The band that started it all, Black Sabbath, my number 1 album for them is 1980s Heaven and Hell. Phenomenal stuff, an absolutely perfect album. Everyone needs to have this in their collection, or at least listen to it if you've not heard it. Just absolutely amazing stuff, and a record that I never ever tire of listening to. Right guys, that is it for this week's video. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. It's very much appreciated. We've all got busy lives, so if you watched all the way to the end, I really appreciate you taking the time out to watch. As always, get in the comments section and let me know what you think about this ranking. What is your favourite Black Sabbath album? Do you think the Tony Martin era is underrated like I do? Get in touch as always, be very much appreciated. As per usual, I'll be back soon. So until next time, as always, cheers, take care, and I'll see you soon.